having sex.
So, Rob, you're growing up in Michigan. How do you get into pro wrestling? I mean, what is your start? Do they have an indie league out there? Some guys that you were able to go in and train with? How do you start? How do you become a professional wrestler? Even to this day, I don't know how to do it. What are the steps?
So there's indie leagues everywhere. You could Google your area code and pro wrestling school and probably find out your neighbor's got one in his garage. That doesn't mean they're all good, but I actually applied to an ad in the magazine, a wrestling magazine that said for $5 they would send me a list, this was way before the internet, of all the wrestling schools around the world, actually, and they did. And I wrote to everybody. I called when phone numbers were provided. I even went and visited a couple of them. I just was convinced, like I knew for sure, because I had that passion for it back then, you could not talk me out of it. I was going to be a professional wrestler. I didn't know how far I would get, but for sure I was giving it everything I had and going to give it a good couple of years and see at that point, if it was worth reconsidering. But I was going to definitely do that. So it was worth driving and visiting some if they were anywhere within like 4 hours or so. And I still remember that to this day, some of the wrestling trainers and the advice that they gave me way back then. But anyway, after all of that and planning on relocating from Michigan to Boston to go to Killer Kowalski's school and somehow try to afford the tuition and living in Boston, I was bagging groceries, trying to gear towards that, and this big ass power lifter came through, and we talked. I befriended him, and it turns out, he was training with the original Sheik, who had everything that I was looking for in a wrestling school. The credibility. How long has he been there? Because a lot of them were, fly-by-nighters that would take money and fold up. Who was he trained in the past? And of course, he's the original Sheik. And he was 45 minutes from my parents' house, so I didn't even have to relocate. I was able to drive on the weekends and train with the Sheik once I got accepted into his school, which, moving fast forward, I did.
Wow. Now, what was your parents' take on that? I mean, do they want you to go to college and do this whole route, go become a doctor, lawyer like everybody's parents do? Or do they say, yeah, man, let's jump into this?
And I actually was a bit of a brainy kid, and I actually had a scholarship for Michigan State. So they really wanted to see me follow up with that, but they understood there was just no talking me out of it. I mean, at my graduation party, which was a thing that they do in Michigan, I don't know if they do that here, but all the relatives and friends come after you graduate and give you envelopes with money in it. I had a ring in my yard. They couldn't get me out of the ring, to say hi to these people that had driven for hours to come and see me. I remember I was working out in the ring and I did that every day. So I had a deal with my dad. And it was that 2 years that I tell you. I said, look, Dad, let me give it 2 years, and let me just see if at that point, if we can tell if I'm, if I'm going to make it, or if it's totally the wrong road to go down, or whatever. I was 18 years old, and so I said, in 2 years, I'm still going to be young enough to turn around and go down another road. I can still go to college and something else. And so my dad was very fair, and my mom, and they supported me.
Now, where do they stand on it today? They watch all your matches? They tune into Monday Night Raw?
Oh yeah, they're the proudest parents. They get a big kick out of it, and they love it. Like when I go visit, because people that aren't with me in my inner circle probably have no idea how recognized I am. But I'm everywhere that I go, and not even just here, even in our country, in Amsterdam, even more so, in certain countries that I've never even been in. With WWE, I've gotten a chance in several countries to visit places that it was their first time having pro wrestling, like India and like Belgium and some of those countries. But anyway, just walking down the street or whatever, it's probably the ponytail, and it's probably because I look almost the same that I have always, my entire career, 25 years, I kind of look the same. I'm very recognized, even by people that haven't watched wrestling in 10, 15 years.